Monsieur le Président, le ministre...
Mr. Speaker, the housing minister was warned that his policies would cause a massive shortage, is in hot water again because he admitted to the Finance Committee that his $4 billion housing accelerator fund doesn't actually build any houses. 0 houses, 0 apartments built, and he even admitted that it wouldn't lead to future construction. So will he follow my plan, my common sense plan, which will encourage the municipalities to create more housing units?
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, the housing crisis requires a cooperative approach. What is the opposition leader's approach? He insults mayors in Quebec, in Quebec City, in Montreal, and all across Canada.
In a serious housing policy, Mr. Speaker. The accelerator fund, which he points to, is incenting change at the zoning level municipally. That is critical if we are going to see more supply. It's absolutely vital that we see more supply because that's what underpins the housing crisis in front of us. He is not serious.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Together with municipal politicians to block housing. In fact, this housing minister, who when he was immigration minister was warned his policies would lead to a massive shortage, and yet went ahead with them anyway, made some incredible admissions yesterday at Finance Committee. He said, 1, that his $4 billion accelerator fund has not completed any homes, and 2, quote, it doesn't actually lead to the construction of specific homes. Why doesn't he instead follow my common sense plan to link municipal funding to housing construction so we can build homes and not bureaucracy?
Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Housing, Infrastructure and Communities.
It's a shame, Mr. Speaker. He should follow the proceedings of the Finance Committee more closely because just a few months ago, officials there testified that his private member's bill, so-called, meant to build more housing, does exactly the opposite. He wants to tax home builders, Mr. Speaker. He wants to cut infrastructure that communities would require for housing purposes. His best idea, it would seem, to build more homes is to create some sort of 1-800 number where neighbors can rat on each other if they have concerns around NIMBY. It's not a serious approach, Mr. Speaker. He's never been serious about housing. He's playing games.
The honourable member from Regina Capel.
This Prime Minister is not worth the cost or the corruption, and his Arrive scam app is just like the Liberal government, costly and corrupt. Look at the facts. 2 buddies, a basement office, an IT company that does no IT work yet got a $20 million contract for IT, and now the Auditor General tells us that she can't track all the costs. Quote, we didn't find records to accurately show how much was spent on what, who did the work, or how and why decisions were made. Will the Prime Minister order his officials to turn over all the documents, stop blocking this investigation, and call for a full RCMP investigation?
The Honourable Minister for Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, it may surprise my honourable friend, but the government doesn't actually direct the National Police
doesn't know that.
In terms of investigations. We have confidence, Mr. Speaker, that the RCMP will take the important responsibility they have seriously and do all the work that is required. We have complete faith in the RCMP's independence and in their ability to look into all these matters. And more importantly, Mr. Speaker, our government is also always available to work with parliamentary committees, the Auditor General's office, to ensure that every document is available so that this important matter can be resolved.
No other government.
The honourable member from Regina Capel.
They voted against calling in the Auditor General in the first place and blocked multiple attempts at committees to get to the truth. And while the rest of the country viewed the pandemic as a difficult time full of hardship, the Liberal government saw it as an opportunity to enrich their friends. They got caught funneling $1 billion to the We organization. A former Liberal MP got a sole source contract worth millions for the pandemic, and now we find out that their app cost 750 times what it should have, didn't work, and wasn't needed. The Auditor General says the RCMP is going to have to get a court order to get the documents. Why should it take a warrant for Canadians to find out what they did with their money?